Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting for the town of Douglas, Monday, December 3rd at 7:03 p.m. And this meeting is being recorded and available on our website. First, before our first agenda item, I'd like to recognize the passing of Mike Yurka with a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Mike will be missed. He was a pleasure presenting in front of us. I personally have known him for over 10 years when I was on the board. He was very respectful, and he'll be a loss to the community. So the first item on the agenda is the INRAD for Zeramwall Road, ASD Wall Mass Solar LLC.
Just take a seat up here, will that work?
Sure, yeah, come on over.
You folks got the sign-off letter from the third-party reviewer.
Everyone should have a copy of Art's letter.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's pretty straightforward. This is the plan. We made one revision to include the correct property line right here.
Our lease rights stop right here. We actually, our delineators just kept on going out of habit, but this is what we can attest to. So that'll be the plan set that we file.
I have two of these if you want an extra one.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Otherwise, it's exactly as, Art and the guys delineated out just fine.
So we're last meeting, we're just waiting. I think the commission was fine with it. Art's letter came to, after between the last meeting and this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have any issues. He recommends, approving the revised plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Okay.
So, Maria, the order wasn't typed up today, so you can still close, vote on it, and if you want to come in during, this week, I know she's sick, and when she has it ready, have her contact you. If you want to come in and sign it, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Board, do you have any questions?
Yeah, there was, from what I remember, there was a discrepancy between something from 2004 and
There was.
something, and the issue was going to be the Ecotech or somebody was going to determine.
Yep, and they went and did that.
They went and did, yep, so there was a discrepancy between the ANRAD that was filed, that was accompanied this subdivision.
Yeah.
Was it 2006 or even further?
He was started in 4, but
Well,
might have stretched out to 6.
Right. And so they came back and they filed a new ANRAD this year, and they found some discrepancies. So because of that, Art went out and verified it, looked at it, found some other areas that they didn't have on the plan, and some of the areas that under the discrepancies they took off. And they all agreed to the wetland delineation line.
Okay.
So,
It would be an issuance of the order of resource.
delineation.
Yes.
Okay, so
ORAD.
We're saying we agree that this is correct.
Yes. And our third party has agreed. So we can,
So we
if-
would issue an ORAD to their ANRAD?
yes. Do I have any questions in the audience before we move forward for this hearing? Okay. Seeing none. I'll entertain a motion to approve the ORAD for this property.
So moved.
Okay.
Seconded.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All set.
Mhm.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Just
Take
leave.
these
Yeah,
out.
if we can just leave them both. I don't need. Super. We've got 2 there if you want them both. But
Yeah, we'll take both. That's fine.
Super. Thank you, everybody.
Good evening.
What's that?
Are the well people here?
Towards Silver.
I don't see them.
About 100 Pine Street people here?
I don't see 100 Pine.
Okay. Do you want to
I
talk about
see- I
this?
see Josh Odette's here.
Okay.
There's a guy in
So
the hall.
number 4 into discussion, we'll take request for return of wetland crossing bond, Joshua Audette, 123 Walnut Street. Someone here for that?
Yep.
Come on over.
Did you submit an I remember it was, did you submit an as-built?
Yeah. I got the as-built right here, so.
I got something here. Okay, if you could state your name for the record and what you're here requesting.
Josh Arquette for the bond release for the wetland crossing.
Okay. That is the as-built, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Good. So, yeah, so it'd be filing, so you still have some work, you're just filing for the crossing itself,
Yeah, just for the crossing, 'cause I still have a bond for the
replication area.
replication.
Okay.
And some photos here if you want, run through 'em.
Okay, sure.
Looks pretty complete to you.
Yeah.
Looks good on the photos.
When was the work completed?
Last winter,
Okay.
and then I obviously didn't, I had like like the summer to establish it,
Mm-hmm.
because when I did it, it was, I think, November, December.
Mhm.
Right.
So I gave it the spring and summer and fall to kind of reestablish.
Okay.
And you still, when are you planning on doing the replication area?
Spring.
And that's two growing seasons.
Right, I mean, it wasn't, I mean, the area, typically you wanna do the replication area in conjunction with the crossing.
take a little
To
peek.
take the hydric soils out.
So did you stockpile the hydric soils
I think it was so
near
rock.
the replication area?
There was so much rock,
So
there was
much
almost
rock,
no,
and stuff, it was hard.
there's no
That's my
aluminum.
point, is that this individual crossing, it wouldn't be too much soils to use.
So what's your game plan for the soils for the replication area? Where are you gonna get the material?
If I have to, I know there's a company that you can buy it,
Mm-hmm.
so I'd have to buy it if it's not enough.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm
where's the
digging-
material that came from here? Is it stockpiled on site?
We put it back down because there was so much rock in it that there was almost no, like, nothing growing in the crossing area.
Okay.
There wasn't
So what
too
we
much
had-
excavating, it was more of a fill.
Yeah, we built it up.
Okay.
So,
Let me just see if I can find the
see
replication area.
where the pipes are with the water level?
These?
Yeah. I mean, I know this was approved, before my
Right.
time on this board. Is that considered a stream?
It's seasonal runoff.
Yeah.
Bordering vegetated wetland is
Okay.
what they had considered it. So this is
Right.
the initial
Yep.
plan. See where the replication area
Yeah,
is?
because the open ratio and stuff, it was more of a DBW.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because all the rain we've had, it's just channeling through there.
Yep.
It's falling.
It wasn't classified as a stream at the time. It was more that was an area to channel the water through.
Yep.
It comes out, it bleeds out. If you see it on this side,
Comes out of the rocks.
it starts right here. There's no flow.
Okay.
It bubbles out right here.
Yep.
So what's
From
your
snow
suggestion
removal.
for replication soils? So you see where the replication area is?
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, talked to his wetland scientist, and it
Mhm.
matched the hydric soils that he has on site,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to bring some in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was nothing there.
But when
Mhm.
you're doing the area that you're having the replication area, if there's some large canopy trees there and you want to save them in the middle of the replication area, feel free to do that and work around them.
Mhm.
Yeah, because there's a lot of
Mhm.
like old growth
Old
oak
growth.
trees.
Well, what happens is that the wetlands in that area is used to that. It's a wooded wetland, and so once you open up that canopy, it's going to be like a magnifying glass, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
it's going to just burn up that area. So if it's used to being under shade, try to keep that same characteristic.
All right.
Okay, so board, they are asking for $4,392.10, including interest, any interest that accrues after we
Right.
vote for it,
Yep.
for the release of the crossing bond. And this was a cash bond, right? So, I'll entertain a motion to, issue the return of that bond in the amount with accruing interest.
So moved.
Do I hear a
Oh, was
question?
that
Yeah, well, I kind of thought that it's, could we wait for the replication at the same time? Is that important or?
Well, we have a bond for each.
I have two
We have a
separate
separate
bonds.
bond.
Yeah.
Okay.
We kind of, right, I mean, because, you know, the money and stuff, instead of separate, sometimes people come in to release the
Each task.
financial burden on keeping that
Yeah.
$5,000 roughly tied up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because the replication area, as soon as he does it, he has to wait 2 years. So the whole project could be
so
done.
he still needs to.
But there's
hold that
bonding
bond.
still on the replication area separately.
All right, so given that that's separate, then yes, I will second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Is this a
Thank
dollar
you very
amount?
much. $4,392.10.
Talk to Maria,
Mhm.
say, they, you know, they voted on it.
As
stuff,
long
and
as I have that motion.
if there's a voucher. We'll see if there's a voucher to sign. Hang on.
Well,
So you can come in and sign.
yeah, we'll have to come in, but eventually, before Christmas. We'll get the money back to you.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
So I just come into,
Talk to
Just
Maria.
give
let her
Maria a
know,
call
tell her,
before you come.
Yeah, that, you know, they voted on it, set up the paperwork,
Mhm.
and let the commission know when it's ready to come in and sign.
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda, 7:15 PM. ANRAD, public hearing continued, 195 South Street, Quartz Solar LLC.
You want these back?
So the last time you were here in front of us, 195 South Street is not the correct address for the project. So were you able to re-advertise and re-notify abutters? Okay. All right.
There's the
then-
notices.
Okay.
I don't have the advertisement with me,
Okay. One moment.
but I know it was re-advertised.
What address was it advertised as?
I don't know,
Okay,
because I didn't do it.
right. I figured. I didn't know that it would be somebody else who did that work.
That's right.
Okay. So it was re-advertised as all the correct parcel ID numbers. It's gonna take me a little bit. But, okay, so this is a re-notification to the abutters for this 195. Okay. Town of Douglas, Conservation Commission, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. 01516, Lee, Illinois, for a public hearing. For Cypress Creek Renewables on Monday, December 3rd, 2018 at 7 p.m. in the Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, for an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law 131, Section 40. The proposed site location is Thomas Circle, parcel IDs. All map 263, and I'll just give it a shot. 18.1 or 18.10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.2, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 3, 30, 31, 32, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And involves the delineation of bordering vegetated wetlands and other water features.
So all of those parcels you just
Thomas
listed.
Circle, including all of the parcels. Okay. Name and address, please.
My name is Brad Saunders. I'm with GEI Consultants, and 3 Bed Street in Franklin. We were retained by Cypress Creek Removals to do the wetland delineation on the site, which was done last May. I think it was 10 and 11 of May. And we did that with GPS unit and identified all of the, laid out the flags, and identified the flag locations accordingly. By the way, this particular graphic, there are 2 copies
Oh,
of it.
great. Thank you.
I had a conversation with Stephen the other night. It was suggested that we begin this process by incorporating our wetland delineation over the subdivision plan that was put together back in 2006. The reason being is that there were a lot of wetlands flagged at that time. Interestingly, though, the order of conditions that was issued at that time was very specific in verifying only 3 small wetland areas. They were associated with the detention ponds, so there was a small area in here that was verified, a small area over here, actually on the other side of South Street, associated with that one, and this wetland in here, which has the subdivision roadway going over a piece of it. All of the rest of the wetlands on the site were not verified. So they're still there for the purpose of the ANRAD discussion. There were wetlands flagged along Tinkerville Brook. There was a wetland flag down here in the southeast corner, which we have not identified, so that's an area where we have a discrepancy. There was a wetland located right along this edge here. We picked that up. There was also the wetland right here at the main entrance driveway, which is actually somewhat marginal as a wetland. It's very stony. It's primarily dominated by mountain laurel, but there is some wetland ferns that you can still see within that area. So we have identified that as still a wetland without putting additional flags out there. So that particular area, which was verified back in 2006, we'd look to see that get re-verified.
Okay.
There's also Tinkerville Brook, excuse me, which runs through the wetland over here. That is a perennial stream, so there's the 200-foot riverfront area associated with it. We've identified on this graphic in colors the bank of the brook, although that has not been flagged by us. In green is the riverfront area. The red is the bordering vegetated wetlands. The yellow and orange over here are vegetated wetlands that were, again, flagged in 2006, so we'd be looking for re-verification of that. There's another color here of yellow, which is that part of the wetland which was filled for the subdivision roadway. It's about 470 square feet. It was authorized in the order of conditions, so that was done. There was to be a wetland replication area of about 700 plus square feet constructed right along that edge. Excuse me. That hasn't been done. There's been no disturbance down in there. It's also a very difficult area to try to build a replacement wetland in. It's completely wooded and looks virtually the same as the wetland area that it's adjacent to. So grading it down and replanting it, I'm not so sure that would be a great idea. The other thing is the order of conditions specified, actually it was specified in their filing for the notice of intent, that the replacement wetland would be constructed with the soils and plant materials that were being removed for the roadway. Obviously, that wasn't done because that would have had to have been done at the same time. And I don't really know when the road was constructed.
That was gonna be my next question.
It's a nice road.
History of inspections
Although
on the
it's-
site.
Yeah.
It's
They must have
paved
called
with
it.
the binder coat. It doesn't have the finish
No, it's
coat on
been
it.
probably the last 5 years. They've been working on it, on and off.
I think first we need to start with the original order. So, is it active?
Well, the original order, so they came in a year ago, or 2 years ago, and asked for a 1-year extension, because that would be their last 1-year extension. That was in fall of 16.
Mm-hmm.
To complete the work, so they completed all the work around the detention pond. It's
Mhm.
been completed, photos of it. The roadway's in, binders in, that area by the there's a small pond, and I'd have to go out and double check. I thought they did the replication area, but I might be correct. And
If they did, they didn't do it
and the
there.
only other work is across the street, a little bit of work with there's a little bit of outlet there associated with the detention pond.
Over here.
So what activity happened over there?
I don't think any happened.
Oh, okay.
Right, so, all the work within, I think was permitted by the commission, the jurisdictions and commission, pretty much has been completed. I don't think they have any more work with the subdivision, within the jurisdiction. And they said they needed about a year to do that, and that's what they did. The order elapsed, so they never got they never came back for an extension. It's just for some reason it's idle.
Okay, so do you know if it's been replicated?
I'll have to go double check.
So that would be because we've got to, did you check on if we have to release that existing order to issue
I believe.
an ORAD?
We have an outstanding order here.
So I know that was a question that I had, because we have.
Well, there's an expired order of conditions.
Right, so there's a method, you request the certificate with a partial completion. I would have to see if that's actually been replicated before I do that. Because you've got the road going through,
Right.
you need to replicate that before we're gonna move to the next step, which is the ORAD.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm understanding the process there.
So there's a recorded order of
There's an existing
conditions.
landowner who built this roadway.
Right.
Who has the order of conditions.
Mhm.
It was an order of conditions that was issued to that individual.
Mhm.
That individual, the order has expired.
Mhm. So you went halfway by putting the road in without, unless it's replicated, without replicating it. And do we have a bond for that
It's not my
replication?
I'll have to go take a look.
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
asking Steve.
Somebody else did
Is he
this.
still
Right,
the owner
so
of the land?
something-
Is he still the landowner?
I have no idea who the owner of the land is right now. I know who my client is, and they're negotiating a lease for the land, but I don't know who they're negotiating.
Well, we'll see
Okay,
who signed
let me
the
see
order.
yeah. CIABAO Developers LLC, East Boston. Do we have their old file? Do we have the old
You
file
want the old
on the
file?
Thomas? So I'm just trying to go in proper procedure, because if
No, I
you've,
understand.
if you fill the wetland, we need to replicate that, that's,
And that hasn't been done,
yeah.
or we don't know. if that's
And we
been
know that the order is expired, but we, but you did half of
I'm confused
it.
about the procedure also.
Right.
okay? Because there's still a property owner who
Yeah.
still is responsible for doing something
Right, there's an
there.
encumbrance
That's
on the
what we're
property,
getting at.
yeah.
That's right.
done. We,
And we're
Yeah.
we're in looking for
before we agree to your new
a
lines.
New delineation
Right.
or identification of where the wetlands are, that's all.
But say you didn't think that was a wetland, it could disappear, but we have an existing order that needs to be released
No, we-
to revise the
well, We're
line.
not questioning that wetland at all.
Just say if you were.
Oh, okay.
We just gotta take one step, one permit at a time. Pretty much property owner. Can you find that out on your little GIS versus what was? You can actually probably.
God, I should overstuff
See.
my file folders.
Need some duct tape? CIBAO. Yeah, 195 so.
Yeah, but the developer, was the developer also the owner, or were they just the developer?
No, that's owner.
Okay.
Property owner name, if different from the applicant.
Okay.
So we're
At least
just,
that was the owner in 2006.
yeah, we're just trying to see if
Understood.
it's been, if the owner, which usually the closing attorney will catch an existing open order of conditions, even if it's expired.
You're not supposed to transfer property without a
Correct,
warrant
because
of
that's the
conditions.
only way you can
Yeah.
release the encumbrance.
Yep.
Property owner,
Lots of luck on that.
yep, same.
Yep. Okay.
And then the existing order of conditions, is that the same? Owner.
Orbison was, I think, might have been the original. Let's see who got the extension. 2016. Where was the L right here? So Lou?
No.
That's who Bill's been dealing with, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's one in front of.
Mm.
So you don't have a number yet either, correct? From DEP? You don't have a DEP number? Okay.
So, you know, why don't we straighten out the logistics of the old, you wanna see something else, of the old, because we brought that up to the last meeting, because you can't have two DEP numbers on one filing.
Mm-hmm.
He's asking for a new ANRAD, not certifying or revising the old one.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't an old one.
An old ANRAD?
Yeah.
Well, the old wetland, you have an order of conditions, you have an existing order of conditions that hasn't been closed out.
That's right. And that's where I'm having my confusion, my problems, is that we have an order of conditions, but it only verifies 3 small wetland areas.
All right.
And it's very specific about that.
Yeah.
In other words, the commission, and probably at the request of the landowner, because he wasn't gonna be doing anything around here, they just focused on those 3 areas and said, yeah, here are the wetlands there. That's all we're saying. So it still leaves the property, anybody looking at the property, wondering where the wetlands are.
Right. So I think for administrative purposes, we need to issue a certificate of compliance, partial, whatever has been done there. And then if the replication area has not been done, and I don't know if we have a bond for that replication area, I'd want to know that before we issue the ORAD. I want to know all these things before we move forward to the next step. I think we have time
So
to do that.
your owner, the new owner, whoever you're working for, if they're the new owners of the property,
They're not necessarily gonna be the owners of the property.
well,
That's what I'm saying,
they
they may
need
be
to be.
leasing the land.
So the property owner is different than the person that came to get the extension request in 2016. So it has passed hands.
Oh, is that what you were able to see?
Yeah.
Oh, 'cause
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Right, but you have to
All right,
write this
there-
down so you
there's
can take
now
it
a
back to
new
your
owner.
people.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure they know who they're
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, they take responsibility for the previous order of conditions.
Who?
The
The current owner.
whoever's the current owner
Correct.
owns the order of
Yeah.
conditions.
Yes.
So they're
So-
responsible.
Well, it's an
Typically-
expired order,
For the,
and
Right.
you've got something you want them to do.
Just
yes.
'cause it's
So-
expired doesn't mean it's closed.
How do you do that?
They don't just close by themselves.
I'm not suggesting they close by
Hopefully,
themselves.
okay, so we don't know if the replication has been
I
done.
have to go, it's 2006,
So that's number
so
one.
it's
So
12 years ago, yeah.
if the replication hasn't been done, then they need to file an order for an NOI to do the replication.
Or they need to close out the order, right? Right, one way or another, satisfy the order of conditions.
But it's already been expired.
Well, they
Active.
could request a certificate of compliance, and you could say you can grant during that process, I believe, that you have to finish the replication area.
Really?
I'll talk to,
Okay, so that's,
DEP.
yeah, that's the procedure. So we have to take care of, if there's replication that needs to be done, to do that part first. And then we'll look at the delineation
And
for
then
your,
we'll do the certificate of compliance, and then
yes,
we can look at
after
the
the
delineation.
replication is done.
Yep.
Yeah, because they don't have a number yet. And then we have for our Allen to review the site, we have $1,900 for his proposal. Did you see this proposal yet for a third
Yes, I
party
just saw it
review?
beforehand.
Okay,
I got it yesterday.
okay.
Yeah, The interpretation of process, you've gotten that from DEP so far?
Well, we'll give them a call.
Because I'm wondering.
Well, we'll give them a call. I mean, if you, it's an unusual situation, 18 years, I really haven't
I
come
agree,
across
it's
something
very
like this.
unusual.
So I mean, I can talk to Art about it. I can talk to our DEP writer about it, see what they suggest. And if you guys have your consultants also, I mean, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this process.
Mhm.
But,
Typically, we require a replication area bond
Yeah.
on the site if they were proposing that little replication area.
Mhm.
So once they put the road in, they should have replicated and then released
I
the
understand
money.
this. This
So
part I got.
I'm not sure about if there's
I
money,
don't know what
if
happened back in
there's.
2006. It was so small, if they held up some of the lots, or if there's a covenant, and I'd
So-
have to look through the.
Yeah, we don't have that available to us. So, do we need to have the applicant agree to the $1,900?
And yeah, I would think so, and write it and have it, well, once he does submit a check to the commission.
Okay.
Right,
Is your
I'm
applicant
not
agreeable?
gonna say it's agreeable right
Okay.
now.
Okay,
But it'll be taken back, and if it is, we'll write the check.
okay. And if you could let Steve know, meanwhile, Steve will.
Because it's not me writing the check. If it was, I'd say fine.
Let's move forward, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's the best
Do
way.
you want to, in the interim, while we straighten out how to satisfy the old order, and say they agree to have the Art review it, do you want to still have them review the line, or
No,
just?
because I wouldn't think we would want a
Wait.
third-party reviewer in there if we haven't replicated yet,
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
All right.
I would agree.
so.
I think
What
we
about-
need to find out what happened to that replication area,
Yep.
the little replication area. I don't know, replication activity is
Well, how did they
allowed
close out? I
under-
mean, you're gonna want them to close out the old order,
Mhm.
100%?
Well, I want it to be discharged and then an ORAD recorded after that.
So how do you close out the old, because they could be selling this to another developer and just finish the subdivision.
If we have money, then
No, I'm
that's
talking
one
about the
thing.
subdivision, the order of conditions associated with the subdivision in general.
Right, if we have money for the replication area, then we should.
Well, I think the
Under
order of
replication
conditions
area, then.
associated with this roadway, which they
Yes.
did. So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you're right.
Well, that
I
would
mean,
have to be approved by planning board, they're not finished 100% with the roadway.
Well, you were here when that road was going in, right?
Yeah, I go out all the time on it, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
so
not
you
approved
probably
it's not
know.
It's not an approved subdivision.
But the road is in. It's been just,
But
the
the
wetlands
sidewalk-
have been filled.
Yes.
We just gotta get to the bottom of it to see what exactly happened.
No, yeah, no, I think
If-
it's perfectly clear. We need to find out if they've done the replication area or not. And if they haven't, we need to figure out if we want to make them do that prior to giving them a certificate of compliance. Either way, it needs to get closed out.
Yeah.
Yep.
But-
And that
so-
can only be done by the owner. So
Who's your client?
that's not my client.
Well, hopefully your client is in contact with the owner if you're proposing
Well,
work
that's-
on their land, so
that is-
hopefully
that-
they can at least.
Hopefully, something like that is going on, that's right.
Okay.
So
The other option would be that my client do the replication work once they, and finish the whole thing up at that point. The thing is we're looking for a delineation of the wetland boundary. And if I were the property owner, I could come in and ask for a delineation of this property under the same file number,
and we would still say no.
that you wouldn't delineate the wetland,
No.
Nope.
even though the project was still ongoing.
It's not. It was not ongoing. It's been since 2006.
Yeah.
This construction of the roadway and the disturbance of the BVW. So that would be my only concern, is the replication part of it.
Right. So how do we resolve this?
To
I
close
guess
out
that's
the
my-
original order of
Okay, but
conditions.
okay, well, what do we do to do that?
So we're gonna see if the replication has been completed, which you're saying you kind of saw, or somebody saw in that area that there was nothing disturbed.
Right.
So if there's nothing disturbed, then it probably should be replicated in the meantime. Once we say the certificate of compliance, Steve is saying that you can do activity to complete that. I don't know for sure though, because it's been expired. So the activity within a wetland has been expired. So the other thing is, if we took a bond for the replication area, we would pull the bond and have the replication area done, discharge your order of conditions, and then you could get your ORAD. Then we'll kind of start from a clean slate.
Okay.
You can't
Just
just put a road
suppose-
through.
Just
a road
suppose my client goes away.
I mean,
Can we use the
I
bond
don't-
money to do the replication?
Yeah,
It's not my
but if
bond,
we
it's not
don't-
their bond.
If we don't have a bond, that's what my fear is,
All right,
that
we'll
we
get a look
had,
into that then.
yeah.
Yep, but it
So-
has to get done one way or the other, and it doesn't make any difference if the property owner moves, or becomes a different person, or has a different representative, it
think
still has to
when-
get done.
Yeah. I think we should probably request for a certificate of compliance. We'll start there. So fill out the
Okay.
paperwork to clean that out, and then we'll go from there.
Did you not request that from the property owner? Like, send him a letter?
You're here. No, well, we've been trying to do
gonna have to
that,
do
but sometimes it doesn't happen. So it's the property owner's responsibility. They really, if it had traded hands between the 2016 and now, they should have caught it. They should have had the order as an
Yeah, I
encumbrance
don't
on the
know
property.
who they are, but yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
so it looks
I know
like
if it were
it's
me
changed
buying the
hands.
land, I would have caught it.
Well, the attorney is supposed to catch it. So, you don't have a DEP number anyway, so we cannot do anything until we get that. So you'll have some time to sort it out.
When does
Steve will get us back up on if there's any bonding, the process. But I would still say that your first move is to request a certificate of compliance to close out that old DEP number.
Even though it's expired.
Mm-hmm.
When was the road put in?
It's been going on, they've been doing activity up until last year.
Well, you mentioned 2006.
This one
Was that when
brought
the
this
order of
one-
conditions was generated, or?
2006, but they started the roadway, let's see here.
We've been rebuilding a road for 10 years.
That's what it sounds like. 12 years.
Yeah, 2015, here's some photos, December 15. This is from July,
Oh, wow.
what it looks like.
It's a real road.
Yeah, it's got the binder course down. It's got about half the sidewalks in. It's got framework for the sidewalks.
Deer crossing.
They clearly picked up shop one morning.
Wow.
Here's the pond.
was that?
That's that pond. that's down
Structure,
there.
no, the structure there.
That's the outlet, control out for the outlet for stormwater management.
Oh, this is the same person that owns it now.
Okay.
It's the same owner.
So they've been working there, I mean, up until about, I don't know when they stopped. They were putting sidewalks in.
A year ago.
About a year ago, sidewalks?
Do we have a
Yes.
comment from the audience?
I do.
Name, address?
Ray
Yes?
Markey, 55 Chestnut Street, I moved from last time.
Uh-huh.
My question, so the roads have been put in, they put in drainage, and I apologize, I have no idea how that's inspected, but I assume town would inspect that.
Yep.
So the issue with the wetland that was paved over, I suspect, or
Like,
disturbed?
about the size of this table.
Filled, yeah.
Yeah, how does that all, I mean, how does that not, yes, I know it's a small area, because we're trying to figure out where it was,
Right.
but how was that not caught before?
Well, no, it was, we allowed them to fill it,
Okay.
go through it, and replicate, I assume I thought they replicated such a small area, they have construction throughout the area.
Yeah,
It might have just grown over. It was 12 years ago, so we have a lot of areas, so I have to go, I'll go out again, but I go out all the time. There's an area that's right next to it that, where is it? You can kind of see it, it's got cattails and
Yeah.
stuff right there as you go up on.
That's
Yeah,
this
that's
pond
a-
right there.
Might have been a little bit more confused that that was the replication area instead of the little small detention pond. But there's a little area up to the left. You see it's got the cattails, I don't know if you walk up there.
yeah,
The area they filled is right before that.
okay. So my other question.
Just a small little area.
So with the Tinkerville stream runs
Yeah.
off to the left. So right now, the development that's been put in the subdivided lots, they're somewhat on a hill.
Yep.
Okay? My only concern with that is the runoff into Tinkerville. So if you go back there now, there's a lot of water there. And my concern is that if they deforest more of that, you're gonna get more, you're just gonna get a tremendous amount of runoff into our lots. But more importantly, that Tinkerville stream, and that's why that was put into conservation, to protect that area.
Right.
When I pulled off your webpage, it's a large area that's wet. I mean, it even touches some of the lots.
It is. Is that the floodplain you have there, or is that?
That's what I pulled off your webpage, right there.
Yeah, that
So
might
right
be-
here, and if you put a topo on that,
Right.
it runs down like this.
Yeah, that's what they have there. That's the floodplain. too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why when they come in, and what was supposed to happen is, you're absolutely right, because the stormwater that's controlled now is controlled by that detention pond, which does the roadway. And at each individual house, if they were within the jurisdiction of the commission, they would have had to file individually.
Okay.
And, but most of them are outside the jurisdiction of the commission, because most of the houses were gonna be closer to the street.
Right.
So that's why it's important to know exactly where the resource area are, and that's another one, the flood. So you're not asking for floodplain,
Compensatory storage.
so, as a resource area, but it is one of the 1054, 5 of the act.
I understand.
So, you should probably ask for the floodplain if you're gonna want that as one of the resource areas.
So it's,
Okay.
it was originally proposed 2,550 square foot replacement.
So we don't know what they're doing for
Right.
development. They say it's a solar farm, they say it could be something else.
Correct.
Right. Whatever they do, they would have to come back if they're within the jurisdiction of the commission and file.
But would not once that road was cut in, and when I was here when they approved the subdivision.
Right.
So it's approved division with the road put in, do they not have to abide by the rules that were put in place as far as the floodplain went? It was 17 acres that were cut out as conservation land, actually 35 acres, but 17 plus was wet.
They never transferred that over because they never built the, any houses.
So, yeah, I mean, we're concerned with them closing out the order of conditions for the roadway
Right, okay.
before we do anything else.
Yeah, okay.
And that's where we are.
Yeah, and has planning board talked about this at all?
Proposed was 2,550 square foot BVW replacement. I'm just looking to see if there was a bond posted.
2,500, no, that seems awful lot.
That's
Yeah.
not on the, where did that come from? We have the notice of intent plans and it says 700.
That's the notice of intent and the, we've got this
And that's the
area.
area filled. Yes, okay, so this is sheet one. Go to the next one, it shows the more detail.
Replication.
Yeah, this is the more detailed area.
Here's
This
an-
is the replication area, supposed to be, okay?
456. Wetland
That's
disturbance.
disturbance, that's the 456, okay? And the area of replication is 708.
And there must be an additional one.
No, I don't think so. Where did you see 2,500?
In the order of conditions.
That you were issued by this board. So your intentions and what you were asked to do might be
Please.
different.
Please don't say I was issued
You're
anything.
here. You're here. This is the pleasure of presenting.
But I've read the order of conditions, I don't know
You
where
have?
that is.
Really? Because I have a copy right here.
Good.
And I will show you. So there's the notice of intent, which is 2,550, proposed replacement, if any. And this is the recorded order. Let's just see if it jives.
We didn't see anywhere else where they were doing any disturbance to those wetlands.
Yeah, so you're right, there's 3 sections that were certifying confirming the part of the resource area which is associated with the following flags.
I don't want to take up too much more time. We've got other people here with agenda items, so.
Yep. But we want to make sure that you come back, because we did mention this with the existing order the last time the gentleman was here presenting, to make sure that we cleared this up. And then if we have a new person, so
But that's,
I appreciate you re-advertising. That was good.
And he was supposed to,
He was supposed to find out about the existing order, what needed to be done.
well,
that's fine.
Whoever had presented previously.
Last one.
Yeah, 1 month ago.
right, and that's what I thought we did. But what you're saying needs to be done is we need to get a certificate of compliance.
So it's 456 square feet,
Yeah, and then it went down.
and 708. And then you have the ability, if you want, to always, well, we'll see what they
Enforce.
did. Well, just do this, the minimum, 1-to-1.
So I think we need to find out if it's actually been replicated first. Anybody else in the audience have any comments on this public hearing? Okay. So, what time?
January 7th at 7 PM.
I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 195 South Street, various parcels to 7 PM
Does
at
he know what?
January 7th.
Does he even know what the,
January 7th?
I would say Steve is going to contact the applicant to make sure that he has
So
all the
moved.
information. Motion been made, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, 7:30, NOI public hearing, continued 74 Ledgestone Road, Peter
Thank you.
Sherman.
Thank you, Conservation. 79.
79 on that.
Keeps on, last time.
And the legal
Oh,
ad did show
I'm
79.
sorry.
No problem.
It's a clerical error on our agenda, and it's 79 Ledgestone Road.
So you
Oh,
were
you
right that that was
Job, Mike.
Did you bet on it?
We
No, clearly should.
On the harp on a point.
we were talking about something else, and he's like, "I'm pretty sure that address is wrong." We're like, "That's
No,
something
it's
else."
fine.
Let it go.
Thank you, Conservation. Glenn Kravosky from EBT Environmental Consultants, Mr. Sherman, Peter Sherman, and the builder, Ron Gwether. We had the previous hearing, and the commission asked us to move that house and deck outside the 50-foot buffer zone. There was, and now the engineer, sanitarian, the gentleman who designed the septic system, Thomas Purcell, did move the house up and away. We are now 5.5 feet from the 50-foot buffer zone line. We did take a second look right at the tip of what we were calling, at least on the plan, I called the edge of the resource area. It's 3 feet in from the top, as that ramp is very gentle and it comes all the way up. The very last 3 feet, I took a call in that it might have been 5. I went out there, looked at the staining, the iron staining in there, and it is 3 feet. Then we transferred that. But even if we took it back to 3 feet, the house is still 5.5, so we're clearly outside that 50-foot zone that you wanted us to be out of. We gave you two documents on the silver maple, and I was in error when Mr. Hey, how you doing? Good, thank you, Steve. I was in error when Mr. Sherman had said that it was called a white maple, which I had never heard that term, but a white maple, AKA, normal term is silver maple. So we went into, if you read my document, Mr. Sherman had planted that tree. There had been a few dead trees over the years in that location. This was the third tree they planted. They went to Bigelow Nursery and they said, look, we've lost, you read did you have time to look over this document by chance?
Very well done.
Stephen did. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, in 75, there was a tree there. I even know the people living at this house. They were, I was class president, one of the kids in the class actually lived there, and we went down there in the 70s. But the point is, in 75, the house, the third tree planted in general area since the house was built in 75, and then it passed away sometime around 90, and was replaced by a maple, not a silver maple, and then that maple grew up, and it was growing slowly, and then eventually it lasted about 12 to 14 years ago. That died. Then they went to Bigelow Nursery and asked for something that grows fast. And so in the end, they picked up this silver maple, AKA white maple, and sure enough, it grows fast, 3 to 4 feet a year. One thing, a problem with that maple, and if you read Wikipedia's discussion about it, they actually have banned it in some cities.
Yeah.
Because it's so fast growing and so brittle. I was just in Southbridge the other day, not that I go out there that often. But anyways, I was in Southbridge, and over near the center of town, there's a pile of all the limbs that they brought in together, and there's the tree and broken off limbs that actually, I went all the way around the lake also to see if there was any more silver maples around your lake. There aren't. It's a very easy tree to identify, especially at the end of the season. And contrary to what it said on this, that might drop its leaves early, this tree, as of the 6/11, I believe, 11/6, excuse me, was still holding on to its leaves. The tree likes growing so fast, that's the size of the leaves on that maple. And it also is in my son's yard in North Oxford, which was planted. And now the mother of my child had a $4,500 bill to cut down the limbs, and it was rotted in the bottom one, and the limbs are falling. So it is a problematic tree. But it's a landscape tree, so it wasn't something that was there naturally, like the red oak that's over here with the mountain laurel. We did propose to replace it with 2 saplings, 2.5 to 3.5 inches in caliper, not small stuff and not cheap stuff. Native to the lake area, which would be your black birch and your paper birch, which are in our vicinity and more common. And also plant some forage crop, winter forage crop, winterberry, 1 male and 2 females, because that does have a distinct male-female species. You have to have the male around to the females. And then winterberry, obviously it's a forage crop in the winter. It's aesthetically pleasing, but we felt that would work for forage. These are all mitigation points. And also in the photo documentation I gave you, there's some
bittersweet growing at the back of the lot, near the tree line, and some sapling Norway maples, both exotic invasive, and we propose to remove those during our project. So that's what we asked to give to you as mitigation, planting natives, both trees and bushes, and removal of exotic invasive. And then again, we did get the house and structure outside the 50-foot, which is what you asked for. I believe we've made sure that the mitigation, as far as erosion controls, went up to over just outside the 100-foot buffer. And most of the work, as explained before, at least the garage and the septic system, is to the rear. The abandonment of the outhouse, which is still there, which is interesting, because there's not many of those. And removal of 2 houses that were on one cesspool. And now we have a legitimate septic up in the back, well further away from the lake. If I could just give to you that well, there's 100, so and there's 20, so we're 125 feet from the lake with a septic system. DEP issued the file number, and there's no comments, because it's a buffer zone project. I believe we've hopefully answered all of your questions. If you look at the soils again.
Is it what?
This is the 50. This is 100 buffer.
Floodplain.
Is it, just for me, is it 74 ledgestone or 79 ledgestone?
79.
It is 79.
And it was advertised as 79 in the
Yes.
legal ad also, so we,
Your document says 79,
thank you, sir.
but our cheapo notes say
We'll make-
74,
We'll
so.
make a note to the agenda prepare.
Everything we sent in so that it would be, just to be clear that
Yeah.
the public knew it was
Yes.
79. That's, I think that's the key on that legal ad issue.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments on this public hearing from the audience? And board?
No, I have no comments.
I entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions for 79 Ledgestone Road.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Commission, and good holiday season to
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
I'm very
Thank you very
excited
much.
about your plantings.
Thank you. Well, and the
are
removal
very
of
nice.
and the removal of the exotics.
Yes. Bittersweet.
Yeah, on every site,
Get rid of that.
we work on that, and luckily, there's not a lot here, so it's just right at the
That's
porous line. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
See ya.
Have a
Nice
good day.
job.
Thank you very much.
Besides the jurisdiction. That's very nice.
Okay, we have 7:45 RDA, public meeting, 139 Martin Road. Someone here for that? Come on over. Okay, everybody want to keep those?
What I,
That's a copy.
Hi,
Do you want to keep that
good
copy?
seeing you again.
I don't think so. I enjoyed reading the notes.
So we,
Yeah, I think we're gonna get together.
Not yet.
It's in the dark.
She was very
I
fast.
want you to have that. Everything that I have, I just wanna make sure you have.
yeah. So I did get the, they got approval from Board of Health. Tonight.
One more, 1 second. I need
Oh,
to
you
read
gotta
that
open it, oh, yes.
article. Okay, do you have the newspaper ad?
I do, yes.
Oh, I got one. Let me see which one's bigger. Did you submit one? Here's this one. Okay, Town of Douglas Conservation Commission, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. 01516. Legal notice for public meeting. Request for determination of applicability. The Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting for Aaron and Shauna Pavine on December 3rd, 2018 at 7:45 p.m. in the Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, for work to be done pursuant to Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40. The proposed request for determination of applicability work location is 139 Martin Road, and the applicant is requesting permission to install a new well. Name and address, please.
Shanna Pavane, 139 Martin Road, Douglas, Mass. So our existing well has been compromised. It's been deemed unsalvageable, so we just want to install a new well. So
Okay.
I'm proposing a variance. We've had a plot or a permit plan put together. I don't know if you want
Should be
to.
a file, updated plan. I put it in the file.
It looks like there's stuff.
It's right there, yeah. So I talked to Margaret, you know, the only comments, and they this went in front of Board of Health tonight, which I just made a copy of their approval, that they approved it. This is, right, the old well.
The old well, the new well. It should be an updated plan. Is there another one up here?
Does the new well care about the old well?
Here it is, yeah. So you have the old well, just so you practice the old well, new well. I had them put the distance from the wetlands, distance from the old one, and then they're gonna be utilizing, I think they're gonna tie the lines and utilize the same line from the old well.
To-
Okay, so the existing
Same
topography is on that lot, right? On the revised plan?
Yep. And here's some photos of the house. Here's the house. The well, so to the right, the well's down here, on the left.
It's in the lawn somewhere, or is it?
It's right, you'll see it, it's right there.
Okay.
No, it's in the woods. There it is. And this is kind of where, the swamp is already disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. So the well is down here, right there.
And where's the new one going?
New one's probably going about
Right there. Yeah, it's just in.
off a little bit. I have, one of the plans have a distance. Does yours has the distance on it?
I'll read it. It's very small
Yeah, it
print.
does, because this, I had them put in where they're gonna access the roadway, and in the distance.
Temporary disturbance.
Temporary disturbance, yeah.
Are these are not the same.
Is this a new?
Which one is the
It was
latest date?
revised.
Okay.
Latest date.
The latest date is 11/27.
So this one,
Oh, none of these is the.
no, that's a. Is that a 27?
Oh, yeah, this is it, sorry.
Right. So this is real life.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Both of those. are
it
the
was
same.
there, and now it's a ways in.
A little bit. It's the only place they can really put it.
Yeah, I get you.
And when it comes to the well, it's temporary. So once the well, once it's in, they back up, and then it's not gonna be lawn or anything.
Right.
Correct, within buffer zone.
It's in buffer
Disturbance
zone.
within a buffer zone. Temporary disturbance.
What's actually being proposed here? Is this entirely new structure, or is it,
No,
No,
just a well.
that's that house that we saw the picture of.
it's already up there, it's the well is changing, that's all?
That is the
That's
same
it.
copy.
Here's the house right here.
No.
It's pretty done.
It is.
So what happened to the previous one?
It was corroded, we think, from stormwater runoff, so.
Was it old?
It's only like 10 years old.
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a weird scenario.
I'd watch out for that. I'm just, aside from this, like, I'm worried about that with the new well being in the same location roughly, but,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. So this, if it was stormwater, then it would, the same exact thing would happen.
Yeah, so we're going to have the ground regraded and to make sure that doesn't.
Is that
Yeah.
shown on your plan and listed as an activity within the buffer?
The ground around the well or ground before the well, like from the street or?
Nothing extreme, just there's kind of a mound of dirt that was never really run over with an excavator, I'm assuming. Not, maybe I
If you're
used the
proposing
wrong-
any additional grading or changing the topography, we have to include it in the RDA. Let me see what it was written on the RDA.
Can you show the picture close to the well again? Like, does the picture show the amount of dirt?
If you zoom in, you can kind of see it's not really even, and I may have worded that wrong. You know,
So you're not bringing any new material in?
no new material, no.
It's probably just ancillary work around.
So is there a machine that you're gonna be using for the grading? Cause you're bringing so the drill rig is coming in.
I'm not
Is
sure.
there
If
an additional machine that you're gonna be bringing into the buffer?
so I'm not sure of the process. I don't know what I don't know. So I don't really know what they're gonna do.
So this RDA is for just the install of the well. There is a slurry pit associated with that. I would wanna know what the proposed grading is because it is, the proposed well is 20.7 feet off the wetland.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So you know, when you put this erosion control on here, that's your limit of work. You cannot go out of it.
Okay.
You know that? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Because you'll be trenching also, which is not shown on here, for the new well line.
The lines are.
No.
The well lines on
It's the
there.
lines there.
The line,
The activities is just a new well. Doesn't say associated site work, it doesn't say
oh, in there.
grading, it doesn't say trenching.
And what's that to the, is that's
Well, we could add
another
that.
driveway?
We could add that to the,
This existing driveway, okay.
That's, yeah, an existing. And there's really no other place to put a well? Do you
Oh,
see
yeah,
it?
for sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a strange plot.
well, it's got the new well plans, new well installed, right?
Doesn't show where the well line is, it shows the distance, the separation from the existing septic system that's meeting that requirement of the 100 feet.
Well,
Where are
get the-
you
get the-
proposing?
This is a different plan. Can I see this for a second, Mike? Your plan's old.
Oh, yeah, 21.
I think that dotted blue line, well, that's the tie,
No.
well tie-in. She's got the, let me check the email.
We just want to be sure because it's kind of like you get this forever, kind of a negative. You get that, you know.
Yeah, no, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
We have
Cause
to
her email, so
define the
she's,
scope.
so I asked her to put the how she's tying the well in, and she's doing a whole new well line, a new well, so that dotted blue line, she says she's tying into the existing well line.
Yeah, which makes complete sense.
So you're using the old well line
That's what
on this
Margaret-
plan?
Yes.
Okay.
And the tie-in is there.
Want me to get Margaret's email?
No,
Response, yeah,
no,
so I
that's
asked her.
okay. That makes more sense.
Right, so I
this
asked
is
her,
sub-
the distance is from the
11:27.
from the existing well to the new well, from the new well to the wetlands, and are you putting a whole new line in from the new well all the way to the house?
No, it's I can
Or are
see
you
that
gonna
it's a
tie, or
tie-in.
just tie it right into the old line?
Which is, no, and
That's
that's fine,
the
I have
Which
no
blue.
is
problem
minimal, which
with
would be
it.
minimal, and she says that they're just gonna tie it in like this, and she showed it on the plan.
I have no problem with that. My question is if the person who's doing the work for you, that you contract out to do this, wants to do some grading to potentially protect your well from being degraded like the last one was,
Mm-hmm.
then that needs to be in the plan. That's all.
Okay. That makes sense. So,
I don't have a problem with the well location or anything else on there.
The new well is how far from the wetland?
27 feet.
20.7.
20.7 feet. Yeah, no, it's close. That's what I said. If there was any grading, I would wonder about this line, and I would wonder about.
When are you looking to put it in?
as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So
could-
besides the drill, there would be an additional machine for grading. So
And that's what
my
I'm not
concern.
seeing. Right.
Like that needs to be parked outside the buffer.
Yeah.
I mean, they could always just permit the well and come back.
Of
and-
course.
And file for the
What
grading.
what you've applied for, yeah, we can definitely do
So
that.
they can get your well.
Mm-hmm.
who-
Okay.
How are we digging out the slurry pit? I'm assuming that there's going to be an additional machine,
Probably.
an excavator, or backhoe, or something.
What's a slurry
So-
pit?
where
The
they
dewatering
So there's
basin.
gonna be
Yeah.
a hole, right, so they're gonna dig probably a deep hole next to the well, so when you drill the well, put the well in, and then they drill it and then they test it, a bunch of slurry comes out, like fine sand, beach sand sediment, and it can come up for days.
Okay.
And overflow, so we put a pit next to it so it doesn't flow into the wetlands, it flows into the pit, fills the pit up.
Gotcha. Okay.
And anything happen to that pit after that?
Well, they
So
should,
you got this big hunk of, big pile of crud there, right?
right, we remove it.
Gotta somehow, yeah.
But I mean, this is what we traditionally do for wells. I mean, that's
Right.
normal.
it's very
Understand.
close.
Is
Very
it?
close to the wetland.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure that that stuff doesn't end up on the other side or any grading closer than that limit of disturbance,
Mm-hmm.
erosion control line. Are you going with this ETR?
That's just a testing.
That's just a lab.
Inspection report, are you going with
That's
this
just-
company to drill it?
No, that's the
So
water
they're just
testing.
a lab company.
Okay.
We're probably gonna go with a local
Okay.
company.
I don't know about this grading situation.
Right.
Because it's not shown on the plan and you didn't apply to have it graded in any way.
Okay. So if I wanted to have it graded, would I just come back and, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. you
I
have
think
to get
that's the
plan.
best thing because we don't want to see earth moving around and we don't want, I would condition it with no machinery left within the buffer. You have a spot on the front of your property, right, that you could park the
They have an
equipment.
access delineated for that one.
So do you, this portion right here, is that available to park something?
That portion is available. Yeah.
Okay. So you see where the 100-foot buffer is? We don't want anything, if you're digging the slurry pit, let's just say, and the machine is left there, we want it moved away just in case it leaks oil or
Okay.
gas.
So what can happen?
What can't?
Yeah. Can they cut trees down to get into
No.
that spot?
If they do that, that again would need to be, we're saying, right, we're going with no, if you need to do any kind of work, that
Okay.
needs to be
Yeah.
planned.
It seems like there were some details missing from the permit plan, so I need to.
Do
So-
you know which trees are
I mean,
need to get
there's
cut?
some small trees here. I mean, these
can
are
they
gonna
add
have to
some-
come down here.
Couple small ones.
Did they say they had to go through that area, or can they go through
Well,
your grass if it's
Well, that's where they're
frozen?
coming. This is
So
the
they're gonna
grass.
go straight in through there and a little to the left. So
Okay.
there's gonna be a couple trees they're gonna have to take down, unfortunately.
These small ones, see the wells right here. So it's going over
And the new
here.
one's gonna be a little 20 feet left of that.
Oh, those the three? Is that it? Could you point to them, the ones that are coming down?
I mean, I think it's probably just a 3. What do you need from me to
Tell us which, because this is what happens. Always say
Okay.
cut a few trees, and then the whole entire backyard is
Oh,
deforested.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we need like a limit, up to, we could do up to 5 trees within the delineation of the limit of disturbance.
Okay.
So you've got to get Steve to go out once that erosion control is installed.
Right. Flag the
To
trees
ma-
you want to take down.
Hmm.
So maybe we can put that in the order.
So you don't have the driller guy
So
under
the order, she
contract
can
yet.
put.
Not
You
yet.
might wanna
Right.
get his proposal as to what he wants to do and
Okay.
then basically.
So I would say up to 5 trees in the area within the erosion control, as noted on this plan from 1127. I would say no grading, no machinery parked within the 100. What about the material from the slurry?
Has to be removed.
And the material from the slurry pit to be removed, as well as when they're digging the slurry?
Well, they can put that to the side and then when they remove it, they can put it back in the hole.
Okay.
So it's just a well truck guy, you just have them remove it.
Okay.
This is the order here too. We can either write that in there tonight or.
So what we're saying is we can approve this with the order of conditions that says no grading, no more than 5 trees, no whatever. And but if you wanted, if you don't like that plan, you'd have to propose something different.
Yeah, if you want to do different activities, you can come back the same kind of
So
process.
we can get the well in
Uh-huh.
and then afterwards see how it looks and then come back and file again to do, you know, if you have some concerns on, I guess, drainage or whatever else.
Okay.
To do some more extensive work.
And as far as like when you say 5 trees, like what do you consider, like how big of a tree?
It's a tree is a tree.
Those
Like
are all
I'm looking
trees.
at like the 3 main ones here that should.
Because there's some
be
pretty
the
like
on-
small trees back there.
Yeah,
Like would
like
you
the little
consider?
tiny-
I'm gonna
sad
consider
ones.
those as trees.
They're all
Okay.
trees.
They're all trees.
So you can pick your
All
5.
right.
5 to,
All right.
we can make it 7, 5 to 7 or if they're
If
smaller
we're
ones.
including the tiny trees, we can go with
The
7.
thing
Specific,
is, so
yeah.
you know the pink that's on this plan, you can't cut anything on the other side of the pink.
Got it.
Okay, so
Pink lines.
yeah, the erosion control
As
line.
opposed to the pink circle.
I'd give her up to 7. Just
Okay.
it's a big truck.
Okay.
And that's to get the equipment in there to
To
drill the well.
Yep.
So anything
Probably not
outside
that
of the bank or
Inside.
inside the bank?
Right, this is your limit of construction, so you can have things happening anywhere inside
Up
this.
to 7 trees.
Up to 7 trees.
We've up
And
to-
then, but you can't touch anything beyond this pink line.
So the first step would be to call Steve to get that line inspected, to make sure that's like your fencing of this disturbance, so that you don't go any closer, because you're like so close to the wetland,
Mm-hmm.
very
Okay.
close.
127 feet.
Okay, anything else, board, you're thinking? For, conditions?
Okay. Did we go up to 7 trees?
Yes. Because they're kind of like sampling
Yep.
trees.
With the line.
Not stumped.
No grading.
also.
No
So just
grading.
Cut up to
Crops.
7 feet, no gradings, remove raw material from slurry pit when done.
No machinery parked within the 100.
Cut trees are not stumped. I
Yeah.
do-
You know what that is, right? You're just cutting them at the bottom, not taking the stump out.
Okay.
And no grading, you already said that, right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
refill slurry pit with original material.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
So the slurry pit's gonna be like a hole,
So they're
and
gonna
then
dig
they're
it
gonna
out. They're gonna originally
water
dig
will
it
rush
out.
in there. And
Got it.
They'll dig it out, put the stuff to the side. Slurry pit will fill up from the well stuff. They'll remove that off-site, refill the hole with the original material, and we're done.
Okay.
And you're also pulling a permit to decommission the existing well, correct?
Yes.
So that's gonna be filled with concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to make sure that the concrete truck doesn't empty out anywhere near
Yeah.
on your property,
You know what that
Mhm.
means?
okay?
So they,
Just-
you get
Yeah.
this, all the concrete comes sliding out of the chute. And then if they have excess, they kind of just move that over and dump it into the wetland. And leave.
That
Yeah, the
happens?
chute, yeah, it happens, yeah,
Yeah,
it happens.
because they want to get rid of it, you know, it's
Mhm.
just extra stuff, they're washing it off, so just have them do that off-site.
Got it.
So, you're gonna add, decommissioning of existing
Okay.
as an activity. I think that's it.
So
So-
you're looking at a negative with all those
Mhm.
conditions? That's a lot of conditions. isn't it?
Mm-hmm. The plan is not, it's self-explanatory, but not crazy. And the application says new well install. So we gotta be specific. And, if you come up with a grading plan for runoff or whatever you're gonna do, you
Mhm.
have to come back.
Okay.
So we'll just take care of this well situation first, and then, we'll take care of the grading afterward. Just so that we can keep, and you gotta keep everything on the other side, the well side of the erosion control.
Mm-hmm.
So this is strictly restricted to the well.
Mm-hmm. Good?
Yep, yeah, we can make a motion to approve the negative with the laundry list order of conditions. No, it's
Negative
good.
with conditions,
Negative
yeah.
with conditions.
Negative's good,
Yeah?
like
Okay.
going to the doctor.
Okay.
Do we need to call them out?
I'll take that.
Or just-
Do you have any
As
paperwork
previously stated.
For me, or how do I?
Previously
is there
stated.
anything-
So,
Motion's been made.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
so, I mean, we'll have Maria type this up, add the
Yes.
conditions, they'll come in and sign it.
Yeah.
But since it's a negative, I mean, you can technically start the process. You'll have the
Okay.
paperwork by sometime this week.
Sounds good. All right. 5 to 7 trees and.
If you have any questions, just
Yeah.
call Steve. So before you do any activity, just
Yeah.
call him so that he can inspect the erosion control of the straw
Yeah,
wattles.
let me know before you're gonna start, just in case the neighbors
Mm-hmm.
complain or anything.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right. Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Good luck.
Okay, 8 p.m. RDA public meeting, 100 Pine Street, Edward Schultz. Hi, how are you? Do you have the meeting advertisement? Thank you. Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting for Edward Schultz on December 3rd, 2018 at 8 p.m. in the Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40. The proposed request for determination of applicability work location is 100 Pines Street, and the applicant is requesting permission to take down dead trees. Thank you. Name and address, please.
Edward Schultz, 100 Pine Street, Douglas, Mass.
Do you have any pictures of the dead trees or planned?
I think
Okay.
Steve, did you come, you came out and took pictures.
I went and took pictures, yep. So he was in a few years ago.
Yes,
Was that an RDA too, or notice of intent?
that was a notice of intent.
Did you get your certificate of
For,
compliance?
I think so.
Okay.
You do think so? or
Now's
you
a good
don't think so?
reminder.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay. If we can make a note to double
Right.
check for him, please. Thank you.
Let's see if I can, this ain't working.
Make it easier if you want to sell your house. Area to right of driveway and along street. Several, how many trees are you thinking total?
If you're at the street looking towards the house on the right side, there's maybe around 10 trees that are dead.
Okay.
And to the left side of the driveway, there's trees right along the street.
Okay.
And there's
Trying to,
some to the side of the garage that are dead also. But when Steve came out, he said those are outside of the...
Jurisdiction, 100-foot
Yeah.
buffer.
Right.
Okay.
so, it's hard to see it, so this is his house here, this, let me see if I can zoom this in. So there's a street, I'll start my video here, I'll walk
Mhm.
down the street, you come into his house here, and all the trees are right along his driveway here. And the stream comes right, cuts through here. Previously, he came in and filed and he cleared some trees in his side yard here.
Okay. No stumping though, right?
No.
Let's see here.
Have there been limbs
Is-
falling? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, boy, yes.
His previous sort of conditions was for
For the back
something
right.
else.
What's that?
For
Oh,
what?
you've wrapped them?
Yeah, it's right here,
Okay.
yeah, so one here, all along the road here.
So wait, you kind of almost count them, that's like,
So
Yeah.
here's the stream here, so you can get an idea
oh, okay.
right where that crossing is.
Is this your the driveway? or-
No, that's the street.
Street, okay.
That's the street.
I was saying, that's a pretty big okay, yeah, okay.
He's coming up to the driveway now.
This one here, which is, I think, is outside of it. Everything I think to the left is all outside of it, but he marked them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So this one here is right in front of his house.
There was some to the left of the garage there I haven't marked yet.
But I'm outside the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Right here, right, he marked them
Mhm.
anyways.
Okay.
All these
Yeah, the
here.
gypsy moths wiped them out.
I was just gonna
They're
ask
leaning
that.
towards
Are
his
they-
garage. So there's some to at the end of the video. There's few on which on the right side, which is right probably within outside the 100-foot. They're probably right within the 200-foot. So this tree here, well,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah, that
you have
one's
that
scary,
pine. That
actually.
pine he's taking down. Tree there, and then these he's got right off his driveway, right through here.
And those are the ones that would be in our jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
Just creeping in, yep.
Yep.
In riverfront. A lot of them they look kind of bad shape.
Oh, yeah. Were they oaks or all different stuff?
Different oaks and maples.
And that's it.
Yeah,
Providing any bank cover.
my concern is
No, no.
one of them's gonna come down in a storm and
Oh, yeah.
land in my driveway or out in the street.
Or in your house.
Yeah.
No stumping and all the trees that are wrapped.
And no equipment in the,
Parked within the 100.
So if they park in my driveway, is that okay?
As long as it doesn't leak gasoline.
Okay.
I don't even have a plan to see where your buffer is or anything, so you know 100 foot from that stream. Is your driveway within the 100 of the stream?
His
If you
driveway,
pull a
no.
tape? Huh?
No, his
Oh,
driveway's
okay.
not, no.
Then, yeah, then that's good.
Okay.
I have that plan, please. Thank you. Anything else?
I should have brought
for that?
the old plan.
I know.
yeah,
you're
that does
bringing
help
it.
usually,
Yeah, I
actually.
told you to, forgot all about it, to look it up for you, but,
Yeah.
yeah, cause who
that's-
did the old plan, Yerker?
Huh?
Who did the old plan? Was it,
It was civil engineering,
yeah, yeah, so,
Margaret.
Bacon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those would be my 3 conditions.
Yeah, I agree with
Only the
those
trees
conditions.
that are marked to come down,
Yeah.
and no stumping, and machinery parked in the driveway 100 feet away from the wetland. I'll entertain a
Right.
motion for a negative with conditions for 100 Pine Street.
Oh, good.
So moved.
Seconded,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
Good
very
luck.
much. Thanks.
So we have chapter 61, notice of intent to sell estate of Alex Chase. So this is Orange Street, 5.19 acres. Do we have anyone interested on the board? Premises is to be sold for 75,000. Do you think that conservation should bid to purchase, or would you like to refrain from your exercising of right of first refusal?
What does it abut?
The second. Oh, go ahead.
It is Exhibit A. And it abuts
I mean, it's
another.
probably not gonna change my decision, but I,
If you can see on this plan,
Didn't we have this before?
there's multiple
there are many
properties.
properties associated with this, and that's
Chase?
why I was just curious
Yeah.
of where this
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, he's good. So, what's the address? Map?
It is
Orange Street.
Yep,
What's the map of parcel?
272.
so you can see,
72 what, dash 1?
270.
you got
dash
Pine
2.
and Vine, and we're looking at this, oh,
That's Chestnut.
Road.
You like that one?
You don't have a,
Do you have 75,000?
175 or 75?
Do we have 75?
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
5.19 acres.
well,
Really?
okay, there's a lot of, there's
No.
a lot of wetlands in it,
Yeah.
but also, there's a cemetery, like, right there. I know where they are. I've been there.
Steve, could you show us on the screen?
It's not coming
It's
up.
map
You should-
270,
Oh, 270.
parcel 2.
I thought you said 272.
I know. That's okay.
Um,
There you go.
Oh, it's not shown as subdivided right now.
Is it over here or
it's the one closest to the corner.
right here?
Yep.
5.19 acres.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a nice tree grove right here. You see it?
Yep.
What do they do?
It must have
Sell?
been a tree planting. They
Sell
must have,
trees?
no, well, it's overgrown, but they must have planted it 50 years ago.
Yep.
You'll see it right here. See it right
Oh,
here?
could
It's
you
pretty-
zoom in a little?
It's pretty cool. You walk through
I
that.
can't really see.
It's like you're in the Ardennes forest.
Oh, cool.
Right here. It's all in a row.
Nice.
That's,
Where's the wetland? You have a layer.
it's supposedly in the middle, and there's a brook exiting the parcel to the north.
Well, this is all wet here. Where is it? Let me zoom out. This is all wet here. There's a stream that comes right through here.
And then, so
Oh,
the
okay, I
wetlands
see.
is centered around that stream in the middle of the plot.
The way this is drawn, it would imply that this whole
Oh, we have an overlay.
whole thing here is the wetland.
Yeah, it is. So this is, if
So
you
you got a wetland
tilt,
right in the middle.
if you tilt this like this, you can see how this matches that green shape.
Do we want to exercise our rights or
Yeah,
not?
no, okay.
I wouldn't think so, but I
Valid.
don't know. Do we have money to do that?
No,
And then what
we
would you do
don't.
with it?
All I need is a consensus motion on that, to not exercise our rights of first
I'll
refusal.
make a motion to not
would-
exercise our right to first refusal
On the Orange Street.
on
Property.
Orange Street.
Okay, here a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
We didn't need a motion.
Okay. Well, I took a motion.
So I did go out to 77 Southwest, 66 Southwest.
66, so request for certificate of compliance, Milton Moda,
I
66
don't know.
Southwest Main Street.
I don't know if they submitted an as-built, but basically, you go down Morris Pond,
Mhm.
Morris Pond on the left, you get the building in a nice
These
little
guys, yep.
nice stone wall. So, the only,
Oh,
Don't-
yeah.
beautiful, well, I should see this, the bear that they carved.
Up further,
Did I take a
Or
picture?
deer.
a bear. Oh, yeah, they were working on
It's
that for
It's
a
pretty
long
cool,
time.
so, there's a little, if you, when you walk through here, there's, the only thing they filed, there was a little, spring.
Yeah.
A little tiny isolated wetland on the left-hand side.
Mhm.
And you can kind of see it. I don't think, oh, here it is, this guy here. That,
Oh,
they
wow.
carved it. The guy, he's got his
Wow.
name in the back, so that's this is all chainsawed.
What street is that?
Southwest Main.
That's pretty cool.
Southwest.
That is very cool.
So if you're heading from like the center of town,
Yeah.
the geographic center of town to Thompson, so Thompson
Oh,
Road,
yeah, I know
Yes.
Southwest.
It's before
There's a
Cedar
guy-
Street.
Yeah.
Because I've
well
seen
before
that
Cedar Street.
before, I think.
So here's the road going in, and here's that little area right to the left. Hay bales, a little bit of water in it.
So this project was the stone wall.
No, it's just driveway.
Oh, it was
Just
the
a
whole drive.
little limited
It's
project.
just driveway is the project.
Not the-
Okay.
not
Because the
bear.
house is outside,
And the stone wall was
The bear
outside.
was outside of it.
yes.
Okay.
So this house is all outside the jurisdiction, so I'm out now, why they filed, because they're 100 feet from the pond.
Yep.
Mhm.
So they're that little isolated, I just showed you,
Yep.
this one here.
So the only thing that was in our jurisdiction was the driveway.
And just this little area, everything within a,
Oh, so that's a whole new house?
Mm,
Yeah.
just one.
I did not realize that. Okay.
so right here where I'm standing, everything within 100 feet, this way and that way.
You're saying they didn't really need the order of conditions to begin with?
No.
Is that what you said?
I think they filed an art,
Yep.
no,
It was in order.
it wasn't, they put it on RDA. You want it?
What did we basically say in the order of conditions? Don't go.
I think we should wait for a plan.
Oh, you
I don't
want-
even have one piece of paper that they
Alright.
put their request in writing, and I don't have anything prepared for the certificate of
Oh, so
compliance.
let's wait.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an update, so when it comes.
But I
as
mean,
it
the pictures are
snows.
great.
It was not that,
Yeah.
that bear was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
No, I just saw them. I saw them doing the stone wall. I thought that was an existing
Beautiful.
driveway, and they were just doing the stone wall because I drive by there like every day.
Well, they might have did their neighbors too.
Oh, yep.
Don't have
check
to worry
tomorrow.
about that bear
Rowan's.
eating their kids
Okay.
or
It's
attacking
two of them,
people.
because they're the exact same material. So he must have
Okay.
paid to have the neighbor, or they did it together.
Yep.
Meeting minutes, Mike?
No, don't we have any?
Okay, but it. I don't know, did you look at October 15th?
Yeah, we looked at her. Excuse me. Sorry.
What was that? Would you speak
Let's-
louder so they
Let's
pick
quick,
it up?
quick. People,
I only found one thing
Okay.
on this.
yeah?
Second page, this is October 15 meeting minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Second page, other business, second paragraph. Says Mr. Zisk stated blah, 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 blah. And the sentence ends with drainage issued.
Issue,
I
yeah.
think it means issue, not issued,
Yeah.
probably. It's a typo, no big deal, but. I screwed up here, this is okay.
Okay.
Anyway. Change issued to just issue.
Okay. Any other changes? Okay, you wanna make a motion?
Sure, I'll move to, that we approve the meeting minutes for October 15, 2018, as amended.
Motion's been made.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Too busy yawning.
No,
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh,
I listened to you.
yeah, I vote yay.
Okay. November 5th? We have those?
No, we don't have it. Maybe
Okay,
that came tonight.
we're
I
looking
don't
for
know.
November 5th's meeting minutes.
No
We're really
star.
looking for pieces of paper.
But that was literally just our last meeting, so we could not have had it prior to now.
Correct.
No está aquí.
So, muy bien.
It's been a long
¿Tú
time.
hablas español?
Muy poquito.
Oh.
You gave your voice right now. I don't know what his papers are.
Okay.
Good? There's
One
that
is for
separate.
art. This is the
Never
voucher.
worry, just sign
Yep, I
life
got the
away.
well.
We got the well,
This is 79
trees, and the house. So the dead trees.
Also, this is the guy that just did all those trees.
This is the guy with the trees. These are the people with the house.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all it.
Do we have to check that the right boxes are checked over here?
Is that leadstone?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna sign them, and then I was like, I should probably read them.
Yeah, I know, you wonder. signing
Steve,
your
you're
life
gonna
away.
take care
Well,
of those
determination,
special
remove separate
conditions.
dead trees.
Oh, yeah, something's checked. So
We don't wanna
occasionally,
have dirt moving around.
No.
That's all. Okay, any other news?
oh, it says signed voucher. Did we do that?
Yes, for art.
For the thing.
We did it?
Yes.
We signed it.
Oh.
Do you wanna look at it?
See, you never know what you're signing yet.
I looked at it. This is
The one that
I
looks-
didn't.
We
This
said we
doesn't
were
look
gonna
like
give
the
the guys
others.
bond money back, right? Oh, no, wait, that was,
That's
No,
the-
we don't
that's
have
not
that
the voucher.
prepared yet.
oh.
You just pull it.
Vouchers like, you bought pencils or,
You buying, what are we buying? We
Paper
just bought
clips.
some Chase property.
Well, I mean,
That's what you signed.
oh, it was a voucher.
That's for the Wallam Lake and Red.
$1,500.
oh.
But that was,
Oh, for our consultant.
No tangible item.
that was paid by the applicant.
I'll entertain a
The
motion.
applicant paid for that.
Motion to adjourn?
Okay. Motion
Seconded.
been made. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nice.
Thank you.